Hello, friends. Welcome back. Or if you are new here, welcome. It is another dark, cold, rainy day here. So I'm getting some things done around the house. And I am starting with removing my old coffee pot. It has slowly been not working right for about a month or two now. And now it's to the point where it takes several hours just to brew a pot of coffee. So my husband bought this for me for Valentine's Day. And when I was having issues with my old coffee pot the other night, he went ahead and just gave it to me early. So I am putting in this new beautiful brand coffee pot, and I've already used it a couple of times since putting it in, and it works so much better than my older one. My husband Kyle has gifted me several of the little kitchen appliances that go with this beautiful brand from Walmart. And so far, I love everything that I've been given. I've tried a couple different brands from Walmart. That Time and Table, I think it is. That one I got pans for a couple years ago and they warped almost immediately. Like you couldn't even fit the lid on them. And so I've been slowly making the switch and replacing all my stuff in the kitchen. And so far, I am really enjoying this brand. Now, I know I don't usually follow instructions on basically anything in my kitchen. I'm just not that person, but I did follow instructions on putting this all together and cleaning it out the first 2 times before you use it. So that I did do. And I am so excited to actually have a functioning coffee pot. I have quite a bit of things to get done today, so I am having the boys sit at the kitchen island with me while I get some bread baking, and I'm also going to make them some pancakes for breakfast. But I have them doing school with me in the kitchen today, so we can kind of knock two birds out with one stone. I mentioned how I had a ton of things to get done today. It's basically me. I'm the problem. I was moving around a bunch of different furniture the other day. I got like that itch to switch things around, and I wanted to try out moving this big cabinet into another area of the house, and I ended up making a huge mess. So and then it was basically all for nothing. You will see it in this video. I included the footage from the other day when I got the itch and I'm like, oh, I'm going to move this cabinet while my husband's at work. And so I took everything out of the cabinet and I tried switching it all around and I moved furniture from where that one was going. And it turned into a whole disaster. And then on top of that, I was also decluttering my boys' room, and my daughter was going through her clothes. My oldest son went through his clothes. So we had garbage and decluttering stuff that I'm donating. It's just everything is everywhere. So I need to tackle that mess today. I'm going to switch everything back to where it was. You will see me undo it, and then my kids are going to help me put everything back because, again, I chose to undo it and put everything back when my husband was at work. So he got away with having to help with all of this, and which it's fine because it was ultimately me who was kind of all over the place with this. But after I had moved stuff, I was like, I don't really like that. And which is totally okay. It is always okay that if you move everything around in your living room and you decide you don't like it, you can always move it back. And that is what I have to do, unfortunately. Before we get to moving around everything that I had kind of put around the house in disarray, I am going to be redoing these roosters that I found at a thrift store. We recently went thrift shopping and we were barely in the door. These were on a glass shelf right next to the door. And I was immediately, I was like, oh, I need those. And I grabbed them. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. And I just knew that I loved them from the moment. It was like love at first sight. So I snatched those up. They were $1 a piece, and they are little rooster candle holders. So I decided to paint them all white, and I wanted just to give them a couple of gold details. I think I'm the proudest of this than I have ever been with any of my thrift store flips. I was so excited. I might have even screamed with joy. I was so excited. These turned out really, really cool, and I cannot wait for you to see them. If you follow me on Instagram, you have already probably seen them because I was so excited. I sent pictures and videos to like everyone I know, and I posted these on my story. This project probably would have been a little easier if I had like a white spray paint. There was a lot of details that I don't really think you can see very much on the feathers, and just around there was like little bushes and posts and stuff that are on this with the rooster, but I'm not really sure how well that would have done with spray paint, but I didn't have any spray paint. I had this chalk white paint and then this gold paint already on hand. So I like to just use stuff that I already have on hand. And when I was this excited about the project, I don't really want to wait until I can go get spray paint. But this turned out perfect. The paint worked perfectly. So it might have taken a little longer because I wasn't just spraying it on, but I had music playing in the background. We were listening to the rain outside, and it was just such a peaceful time to sit there and craft. If you can remember what this looked like before I painted it, there was little like dark blue checkers at the bottom, and I really liked that, but I wanted it to match with the gold. So I am doing all the checker spots in gold and white. Here's how they turned out. I am so in love with them. I'm so excited. And I just put some of these candles that I got a while ago. They just have, I think, like 2 batteries in them, but they actually look pretty real. My husband thought they were real. But this is how they turned out. I think they're so cool. I like called everybody in my room to come and see them. After I was all done with the roosters, I came into the kitchen to find my bread. After its first rise, it was like toppling over. It was huge, which I was kind of surprised about because my kitchen is usually pretty cold, and it was today too. So I don't know. It was just, I got some really good loaves of bread out of this. It was really, really wonderful. This recipe that I'm making here is my normal white sandwich bread recipe. I've made it a ton of times on my channel, but I will include the recipe in the description box below. It is very, very simple, and I have not actually bought bread from the store in several months. I usually just make this. There's another one that I believe I also shared. It has milk in it and a couple other like extra ingredients. This one is just very basic, and so we were needing some bread, so I went ahead and I made 2 loaves of sandwich bread. I don't know what got into my bread ingredients this day, but when I put them out for their second rise, I left the room and I came back and they were huge again. So I don't know what happened, but there's an indent there on the loaf on the right. And that's because when it was rising, there was a pan next to it, and the handle of the pan ended up pressing into the bread when it was rising. It was the weirdest thing, but it turned out so beautiful and fluffy. Okay, so now we are getting into the chaos that I created solely by myself. There's Ted. He's like, what is happening? Even he was like confused at what I was doing. I ended up moving kind of everything out of the way. That's generally how I do things. I like need like a clean slate when I'm doing things. So I moved the chairs out of the way, and I'm moving all of these pillows that were on the couch. And originally, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought the left side of the couch, like the part that creates the L, I thought that that could come off and maybe I could form like one actual couch that was just like, a rectangle and not an L shaped. And so I removed all the cushions, I moved the furniture out of the way, I'm vacuuming the rug, I even moved our really, really heavy coffee table out of the way. And I was so excited about this. And then, like, as soon as I was done, I'm like, wait, no, the couch is not built like that. I don't know what I was thinking, but it didn't work because it doesn't come apart like that. And I don't know why I thought it did. And so I ended up putting all the stuff back. And then I kind of moved on to this cabinet that I wanted to move over by the front door. It was like a big day of me moving a bunch of stuff and then literally having just to put it all right back because none of it ended up working out. But the plus side of that is I did a really good vacuum and I fluffed all the cushions and fluffed all the pillows and everything got wiped down really nice. So I guess there is a good takeaway from this whole situation. here was the space by the front door. I call it my foyer area. I was going to take this shelf thing that my husband built, and I was going to replace it with a cabinet that is usually by our fireplace in the living room. But it ended up just not working out. And so we then moved it back. But there was a bunch of stuff on the shelf, some pictures and some canvases of my son that passed away, and some candles, just various things. We have like some remembrance, like, what are they? Picture frames that have flowers from his funeral, stuff like that were in here. I was just taking everything down. And then I also, you can't really see very well. I thought I had it positioned a little better, but I did not. These candle holders I got a very long time ago from a thrift store, and I spray painted them. And I just never really loved the design of them. So I actually have found new ones, and I'm going to be putting them up instead. But yeah, so I took down, and that mirror is insanely heavy. I took it down, and then I realized that it was screwed into the wall. So I then had to wait for my husband because he had the tools. So this is kind of backtracking a little bit. This was the other day when I was clearing out this cabinet. Now, this is the cabinet that I'm wanting to put where the shelves were that were just screwed into the wall. This cabinet, again, has a ton of stuff I need to declutter. A lot of it is like decorations or sentimental stuff in here. So the stuff that I'm taking out now is like decorations. I don't really know exactly what to do with. We have storage downstairs, but I feel like I need to go through all of our storage and actually organize it significantly better. So we have this cabinet here, kind of just filled with stuff that I ended up getting rid of. A lot of stuff. My husband keeps a lot of alcohol in here for when we have parties. So I was actually moving that out and putting it into the kitchen. So it's kind of in a better spot for that. And then the main reason for this cabinet is we have our internet and our TV and everything is hooked up, and it's all in this cabinet. This wall is a rock wall. It is so solid, and there are no outlets on this wall. So, and it's the same for the other side, because the other side of this wall goes into our kitchen. So we have no outlets, and in order for the TV and the internet to be hooked up, it's all like right here at this half wall. And so I have no other way of, well, that I can think of, to disguise this stuff. They're giant cords, and they kind of weave until they get to the outlet that's on the half wall. And then again, my internet is plugged in like right there at the very edge of the half wall. So we have no idea really what to put here other than like a cabinet like this, and that's ultimately why it was here in the first place. But there is a project that we are wanting to do for this half wall. So I feel like a cabinet here would not be good if we did that project. So it's wishy-washy, and it's kind of hard to explain. I feel like you have to be in my head in order to see it, I feel like. But that was my whole thought process, was trying to figure out how to get rid of this cabinet and disguise cords, and that's where I was going. So you can see the cords all there on the floor. We have them tucked into a box under this cabinet usually, but I am trying to figure that out. So I just scooted the cabinet aside, and there was dog hair, so I am vacuuming. So after I vacuumed and cleaned it all up and everything, I did move the cabinet to that area over by the front door. However, the mirror, it didn't look good with the mirror. It was an awkward space for this cabinet. So my older two, they then helped me move it back. This is, again, a couple days after I initially put it over there, because I like to sit with stuff and really make sure that I don't like it before I move it. So Our house has been in disarray for a couple of days, but so I'm moving this back. And again, this is not going to be a permanent thing, or if this shelf is going to be permanent, I'm going to stain it or paint it or something. I'm not positive about this area, but I do know that I want the mirror to stay there and I want my son's pictures and stuff over there again. So I do want some type of furniture. I'm just not positive about what. And now they have helped me move this back, and I am putting everything kind of back. I did go through and declutter a lot of stuff, so I did not end up filling up the shelf at all, but I condensed some of the cords. I was able to get rid of a couple of cords. I don't even know what they went to, so I just kind of wrapped them up and put them aside. But I was able to condense the cords, and they were before kind of all tangled in this box. So I cleaned it all up. It looks significantly nicer. And I put the internet back in this cabinet, and just kind of the stuff that I am keeping, like my son's urn and some decorations, some keepsakes. I have this heart vase with some flowers from his funeral and from his first heavenly birthday. They're right there in that heart vase, and a church that I redid a while back. I did it in a video, but putting everything back and donating the stuff that I no longer need. I need to go through and donate so much stuff in this house to really have a clearer head. It helps so much mentally, and that is kind of where I'm at lately, where I really need to declutter my life and get back on track with things. And so, even though it did seem like a complete waste of time over a couple of days, when I was all done putting all this together, I kind of just sat there and I was like, you know what? I am glad that I did that, because now I know it's no longer eating away at me. And now I know that that cabinet does not look good over there. And I don't have to think about that anymore. And I can figure something else out. And then also, I ended up decluttering the shelves and I decluttered this cabinet. So, I felt a lot better, even though I wasted some time, but ultimately I felt so much better in the end and a little more at peace. This bench is kind of another temporary thing, and also the plant is too. The plant, once it gets warmer, will go right back outside on our deck. And then this bench was in my bedroom. It has a couple pillows on it. One of them my mom gave me for my son, but I'm not positive if this will remain here. But for now, I like it, and it adds a little something extra to the space. But that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.